Welcome to Side Streets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in on this day. If you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here on IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-953. Let me just say hello to Sandra, who's watching. Hey, sis. And I just want to thank my viewers and my listeners that tune in and view me each week because it is truly appreciated. And without your help, I would not be here. So I want to thank you for that. So getting to the subject at hand, a logistical nightmare. Yes, I'm talking about the Trump presidency. He is not my president. He may be your president, but it is an all never-ending nightmare. So we know that he has not decided to fully live in the White House and that he and his wife or his wife is living in Trump Tower because she felt that she should not take little Barron out of his elite school in Manhattan, which is estimated to cost the taxpayers $183 million yearly. Yes, I said it. Now I know that number may sound staggering. $183 million to protect little Barron so that he can attend the elite private school of his choice, while schools are being closed down in each and every city across the United States. When is it going to end? What has the world come to? I just want to know, what are your thoughts with this new president that seems to be very narcissistic? He is beyond belief, beyond his approach. He is a person who cannot deal with criticism on any level, and anyone that deems to speak the truth, he attempts to blackball, ostracize, and even in his own famous words, you're fired. Yes, this is the reality show of the century. I'm talking about the Trump presidency. This is the reality shows of all reality shows. Now, we thought that he was doing something when he had The Apprentice, but he is going down, y'all. So let's just look at some of the things that he likes to participate in, he and his family. Already, he's taken 3 trips to Mar-a-Lago, which is located in Florida. It's an elite country club, elite golfing place. And that already has cost the taxpayers $10 million so that he can enjoy himself. Because, hey, he's defending America. He's protecting the interests of the American citizen. So, hey, we have to make sure that he can take his weekly trips to Milagro. And so, interesting enough, as we delve into more of this Trump presidency, you have to ask yourself, what's in it for the American people? What's in it for everyday people like you and I who have to get up and go to work every day? We have seen racism spiral out of control like it's never been. We've seen individuals separated from their families who've been here in America for 20 plus years. We've seen a decline, and in order to repeal the Obama health care, Trump care is just that he's going to trump your health. So be prepared. You better get back to saving money in the shoebox because times are getting rough now. Interesting enough, I mean, barely into a month into the Trump presidency, and his elaborate lifestyle is straining the Secret Service officials. Yes, I said straining the Secret Service officials. And you say, well, how is that and why do I even care? Because we're paying for it as taxpayers. We're paying for it. It is so interesting. So imagine, now when Obama was in office, it cost him, I want to say 97 million, 183 million. So that's doubled. And he's only been in office since, January. $183 million is projected what it's going to cost to protect Melania and Little Baron and Trump Towers. And then what's interesting is that when they go to this country club located down in Florida, which costs for members $500,000 to join, and then they have to pay a $14,000 annual subscription fee to enjoy all the frivolities of this elite country club. As taxpayers, our taxes are going up. He could give less than a damn about how we make it from day to day. And most people, and some of the attitude is that, well, it's not affecting me directly. Well, I need you to delve a little deeper that it is going to affect not only you, but your children's children, this presidency. Now, adding to the cost and the complications in this Trump's, inclination to conduct this so-called official business surrounded by, he has to be surrounded by crowds of people, and he's thinking about, or he's hosted the Japanese Prime Minister. Yeah, at Mar-a-Lago. Interesting. So you ask yourself, what can the American people expect from this presidency? Well, let me paint the picture for your future. So many people are going to lose health care. It is estimated that 24 million people, close to 24 million people, will lose health care in the next 2 years. I want to say those are numbers. If I am not correct, please make sure that you correct me. Education has plummeted. Our children are in dire straits. We are in dire straits as we deal with this president who is nothing more than an expensive reality show. And I like to ask all of those who went out there and voted for him. You have to understand that this presidency and the election, it caused marriages to break up. It caused friendships to come to an end. Well, imagine your lifestyle coming to an end because you can't pay your rent or you can't even afford your medicine. It's getting deep, my people, it's getting deep. Now, once again, I just want to say, now in New York, the city of New York is paying $500,000 a day to guard Trump Tower. The tower, okay? $500,000 a day. And according, once again, like I stated earlier, according to police officials, it estimates an estimate that could reach $183 million a year for the next 4 years. Are you upset now? You should be. If you're not upset, you still will be. Now, I'm not saying that people don't have a right to elect who they believe is going to do a better job. I'm not saying that he has not kept his word, because he's most definitely kept his word. He has kept his word. But one thing that he has done, he has highlighted the racism that we always, we all knew that it existed, particularly if you're a person of color. He has restored their faith, making them believe that it's okay to act and behave in mannerisms that are unbefitting for any human against people of color. Now, just think about it. The cost comes with some additional perks now. Now, you have to understand that, even though he has kind of detached himself from some of these businesses, he's still getting paid. Okay, so this is how this works. So even though he has refused to divest his ownership, meaning that he still benefits from corporate successes such as government contracts. So really, has he recused himself, removed himself, and given up his right to his corporations? Of course not. It has truly become the have and have-nots. And most of us that are getting up every day trying to work, we are the have-nots. So let me just give a little advice, if I may. Instead of worrying about Nicki Minaj and Remy, worry about how you're going to be able to feed your children, even feed yourself. It's a shame that even now, with our children going to work, they are considered what you call tier 2, meaning that they have to really work until they're 67 years of age if they are to receive full retirement benefits. Now, that's a logistical nightmare. Let me tell you why. Because even with all of the technology, even with all of the medicines that they continue to create, as well as the diseases that are manufactured, do most people even think and project realistically of living to 67 years of age? And if they are living at that age, you have to ask yourself, what quality of life at 67 years of age if you work 30, 40, 42 years? Not only that, once you retire, I kind of get the numbers today even with my own job. Now, I've been on my job close to 19 years. And even if I were to work another 15 years, that would give me 34 years. I would retire 80%. That would bring me $4,000 a month. And of that $4,000, I would then have to pay almost $6,700 just at today's rate for medical care. So seeing that the cost of living is going up and my income is not going up, I'm still in poverty. It's a logistical nightmare, you guys, I tell you. You guys better get ready. Better get ready for the revolution. You better prepare yourselves. You better start going back to the old ways of doing things, and that's putting that money in that mattress, putting that money in that shoebox, and even putting it in your mama's brazier, because times are getting rough. I'm going to go to a musical break, and I will return. This is Angela Champ for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com, assessing the logistical nightmare of the Trump presidency. Welcome back to Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Chemp, and once again, if you are looking for an opportunity to host your own show here on IntellectualRadio.com, please do not hesitate to call 708-223-8953 as we are iHeartRadio Station, Spreaker, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live. Hey, Art, thank you for tuning in. Cecil and Sandra, thank you for tuning in onto this subject matter, a logistical nightmare, the Trump presidency. Now, when we talk about Obama, his travel expenses in 8 years cost nearly $97 million over 8 years. But we're talking about Trump, $183 million a year. That is bananas, my people, bananas. And we're paying for it. I want you all to think about something. Now you have these agents, guarding multiple homes that they have, protecting Trump's 4 children, and his family business, his daughter Ivanka. This is unbelievable. Now, if you all recall, back in 2015, Obama stated to one of the newspapers that, I would really leave the White House because there's so much work to be done. But all I see is him putting his foot in his mouth. And anyone that challenges his lies, then he has a tantrum. He states that they're making up lies and they're just bullies. And if I recall, I was reading an article and where it states that, these agents are even complaining that they are nearly burnt out of protecting this family. They have no regard for the American people. I just don't know, in the eye of the people, how they could have put someone in office who can't even relate. When your dad gives you $1 million, he was one of the elites with the KKK, his dad. How could he ever understand what the working class endure on a daily basis just to make sure they have a roof over their head? Now, it's costing $183 million to protect and fund these trips that he's having 1 year. Okay? Now, they just announced that they were getting rid of the endowment for the arts program, which is estimated to cost $143 million, which could almost fund every single city in the United States. So at the risk of him enjoying himself, and I haven't seen anything that is benefiting the people, I haven't seen anything that's worthy. I will say that he has been a person true to his word. And to that, one has to respect that, because now you know what animal you're dealing with, what type of animal you're dealing with. I just want to say that, people, we got to do better. We understand we won't change. We need change. But it cannot come at the cost of the lives of people that get up and go to work every single day. Now, what I don't understand is they can spend $183 million to protect a family who supports racism, has separated families, doesn't believe that people should have affordable health care, What's next? What's next? It seems like we are going back to the days of old. By that, we are in dire straits, my people. These corporations have gotten so arrogant now, till they don't think that, they need us. We are all nothing but employee numbers. They've taken out the human component, not understanding that it is human capital that drives productivity. And when people fear losing their jobs and losing their basic necessities to survive, this is where you get survival of the fittest. This is where crime increases. But of course, we want to make sure that Donald Trump looks good. Not. So what are your thoughts? What are your takes on it? It's interesting that, we know that every administration presents a unique challenge with respect to the money spent in order to protect them. But I haven't seen anything in his first 100 days that has benefited the average working person. Each one of you that have decided to tune in, and I want to thank you. Each week as you support me and tune in, Cecil, thank you. Taylor, thank you. Chris and Irving and Wendy and all you guys that support me every week. I don't do this just because it's something to do. I do it because I believe that you all need to be informed, and I believe that I offer something unique with respect to telling you about the issues that are prevalent to us each and every day. Now let's just go back to this elite country club, Mar-a-Lago, the lavish state Trump turned into a club in 1995, and he now calls it the Winter White House. How befitting, the Winter White House. He's even created a golf club or the same type in Dubai. So see, he's making money all over the place. You and I, we're getting up every day, we're going to work. We have to worry about losing our jobs, how we're going to feed our children. And it's gotten back to the point where people are afraid to speak on behalf of those that need a voice. I'm just curious to know where all of the politicians at, if I may. Where are the Cory Brooks and where are the Meeks? Where are they? I don't see them anywhere. I don't see them anywhere. So once again, here on IntellectualRadio.com, I'm just glad that I get the opportunity to tell and share with you my view. Now imagine if this man continues to get his way, what's going to happen? I don't know if you all have not been taking notice, but we all have known that racism is very prevalent. But if you notice that since Trump has been in office, in terms of hiring people, they've gotten back to the days of old. I know particularly, in my organization, the last class that came out, you could probably count the number of African Americans that were in that class. And so sometimes I have to ask myself, because I remember 19 years ago when they offered me the job, it was, now that I'm older now and I kind of understand the mindset, is that you can go work with them because they're your people. But what they were saying is that I wasn't good enough to work in the other jobs because, of course, those were given to those who had political affiliation. So just be glad that you have a job being an overseer. Sounds like some slavery stuff to me. Anyway, that was just a side thought right there. getting back to this logistical nightmare, the Trump presidency. Now, club members, they pay about, I think I said earlier, $500,000, but they pay $200,000 to join. And since the election, that fee has doubled. So yeah, it's close to a little bit over $400,000 to join. And they pay an annual $28,000, close to $30,000 a year to belong to this elite club, giving them access to a beach, tennis courts, a spa. Yes, you're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct that it is nothing new that we're seeing with the Trump presidency and administration, Chris. However, while it isn't anything new, it's something worth assessing, because if this is what we are willing to turn a blind eye to, imagine what's going to be coming next. So if he's spending $183 million just to, be protected, imagine what corners are going to be cut to make sure that your life is compromised at the expense so that he's protected. So let's think about this. Yes. Now, so Chris says that we have given Barack Obama a pass due to the fact that he was Black. And I would have to agree with you. But my only point is, not that I'm making this about a Black or white thing, I'm specifically talking about the Trump presidency and how it's going to impact and how it is impacting everyday people like you and I, Chris. Because when it came to racism, people tried to, at least in some way, downplay it. Now they at the point where they really don't care. They really don't care. And because there's so much going on, it's always something new to try to distract you from what's really going on with this presidency. Now, they'll try to take you, off of the issues by, let's think about Black History Month. During the whole Black History Month, there was something going on, the Oscars, the Grammys, things that really, in my opinion, weren't important, so that you would not be focused on the Trump presidency and this logistical nightmare that's going on. So I'm not going to say that Barack Obama was not given a pass simply because he was Black and or African American. In fact, in some ways, he was given a pass. And so, Chris and I, we argue a lot, we debate a lot, and we agree on many, many things. However, my purpose today is talking about this Trump presidency and how we've taken a reality star and made him president with his antics, with his lack of disregard for anyone that doesn't look like him or have his type of money. He has a total disregard for the human race. And it's something to be said about a person like that. It's something to be said for a person who has an ill temperament. Will he be sending us to the next major war? So for those who have children that's off to war fighting, they're on pins and needles wondering what's going to happen while this man is in office. God forbid if we go into another. I think he just deployed some young men and women to protect what? To protect oil. It's not really protecting our freedom and our rights. It's protecting oil. So anyway, getting back to this logistical nightmare, the Trump presidency. All I want to say is, while our schools are closing, for those that reside in the city of Chicago, they are closing Roberto Clemente. So where do our kids go? To the streets? It's getting back to the point where we have to begin to educate our children on all of the issues, not just this logistical nightmare, but educate our children at home, sit down and talk with them, go back to the days of old where we sat around and listened to the radio. All of this reality shows and all this other stuff is unimportant, making you feel that the only way you achieve something is if you're buying something of material goods. It's not what's important. We have to instill in our children of color that we are indeed the chosen people. And we cannot be confused. We cannot have our attention diverted with everything that we've been made to believe that is important. This is Angela Chan for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm going to a musical break and I will return as we close out this logistical nightmare, the Trump presidency.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharon, for watching. Natasha, my cousin, is watching. Welcome back to Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Angela Champ, and I just want to thank everyone for tuning in to me. And if you do not have the app, please download Sidestreets and Intersections on iHeartRadio. I can also be heard on Spreaker, YouTube, and Facebook Live. And while I was at a musical break, Chris pointed out something that was very important I want to share with everyone that's viewing me on tonight. And he stated to me that, granted, there's nothing new that we're saying about Trump. However, when Obama was put in there, it gave us the false sense that we were being included into the grand scheme of the America or American format. And I totally have to agree with that, because we cannot let anyone, whether it be Obama or anyone else, off the hook. Because I will say this, and I have to say this, and some people may get upset with me, and that's okay too. However, during the time, and I posed this question once, and I wanted to know what specifically did Obama do for people of color? I'm not talking about Obamacare, but what did he specifically do for people of color? And even better, what specifically did he do for the city of Chicago that would benefit people of color? Now, Trump's presidency is just a reminder that racism has always been here and it's never going anywhere. I mean, remember, they took people, through barbaric means and brought up here to work for free, and most of us are still working for free when you think about it. Because if I work 34 years and the only thing that I can get is $4,000 and $600 or $700 goes on medical care, then what have I got? Servitude hasn't even been paid. I'm still in slavery. So once again, we must understand that we have to do more than exercise verbal judo. If we are to make a dent in what's going on with this presidency or anything that's going on within our communities, we have to understand our spending power and we have to understand our buying power. Now imagine if all my people, just on Facebook alone, buying True Religion and like buying the latest gear, if you took that and invested that in books and creating our own school systems, we would put such a hamper and financial constraint on this thing called America that we could impact change. So no one is off the hook. However, we must understand that Trump is a reminder that racism is real. Racism isn't going anywhere. And we have to understand that we have to educate our children. I was just reading an article because you have to understand that Trump also pays into an organization called ALEC, and that is the American Legislative Exchange Council. And what they do is they pay into these corporations so that their laws can be passed on the law books. And for those who say work at Cook County Department of Corrections, the inmates, they buy their food from an organization called Keefe. Keefe pays into this organization our president. We must not let our guards down with any president, whether he be of color, and particularly when he doesn't understand our fights. Now, people say that, oh, you want to make this about a black and white thing. But the reality is, it is about color. We have to understand that not unless you are willing to be sacrificed, and by that, being ostracized, being blackballed, being labeled, being identified as a troublemaker or a whistleblower, if you will, we must continue in our lone fight for equality and justice, as Chris Montez Jenkins, one of my viewers, has pointed out. As always, I just want to remind you all that I understand that everyone doesn't always want to be so serious, and that we use entertainment to sometimes deal with the reality that is being placed before us. But people, we've got to stop watching these reality shows. We got to start reading more, and not just urban novels. Now, I'm not saying that this is for all, but I just want you all to understand that this is really, really serious. We really have to educate ourselves. Like I always say, if each one of us took a page out of the law books that have been written, we could fight our own cases. Stop depending on other people to represent you. Because I was always taught that no one can represent you better than yourself. And particularly, no one can represent you when they can't even identify with your struggle. I want to thank everyone that has tuned in. I want you all to start to have the conversations with your loved ones. Start to look at your finances differently. Start to understand that we must always aspire to inspire before we expire. Once again, this is Angela Champ for Sidestreets and Intersections here on IntellectualRadio.com. Until we meet again.
You're right on time. You're right on time.